Yo, what is going on, everybody? Caveman Jack back for another album reaction / review, and we are back live from the studio. Yo! Hopefully, you guys are having a fantastic week. Now, very, very intrigued by this latest artist we're going to be checking out on the channel, Kraftwerk. Kraftwerk has been recommended a couple of times to me in the comments. Don't really know too much about them, but I've read a little bit, and I think they're very kind of electronic sounding. I'm super keen to dive into this sound. Now, in terms of what Kraftwerk album to begin with, I wasn't quite sure, so I've gone back to their album Trans-Europa Express. Now, this is the remastered version, but I've noticed it came out in 1977. So I'm very interested to hear these sounds, and I'm wondering if this band was pioneering some of these electronic sounds that we hear and love today. So I'm keen to dive into this work. It's always interesting checking out an artist that I've never heard before. So I'm keen to get into it. This is Trans-Europa Express by Kraftwerk. Okay. A long songs here. Very synth heavy. Here we go. I like a kind of like roll-on effect. Oh, we hear Rising. Damn. I like this. That's dope.
Europe and us.
Oh. Man, this is some old school synth work, man.
Life is timeless. Europe and us.
Oh, it's giving me a bit of Daft Punk vibes.
Life is timeless.
This is cool.
Europe and
Bit of Zelda, bit of Pokemon, very Pokemon-like.
parks, hotels, and palaces.
Yeah, this is sick.
Parks, hotels, and palaces. Europe and us.
That's sick as. Just really scenic, like it feels like I'm listening to I don't know, it feels so retro sounding, video game-esque.
Real life and
I just love the little kind of, just the robotic voice, man. Hey man, it's like Pokemon. Hey, there's a Pikachu over there, there's a Charizard, there's a freaking Squirtle over there, man. I like how heroic and uplifting this section sounds as he's making his way up the keys. Always a pleasure hearing some synth action. And this is some real retro stuff. You can feel how vintage this is, you know, like, and it still comes so clear through the mix, man. Such rich sounds come straight from these retro keys, man. So we're getting synths. We're getting synths. And that song was just 9 minutes, over 9 minutes of just some retro synths, man. And it was just cool. It was almost like a jam sesh. Pretty sure all the sounds came from synths. Like even the drum beat was probably like a preset that was just set on the synthesizer. But just really cool stepping back into the world. It feels like we're going through a time machine. It's incredible when albums can do that. This one, really, you can feel that. It feels very retro, but so unique. And people forget just how incredible and rich these sounds can be. These late 70s synthesizers, man, it's just beautiful. I love it. There was a lot of kind of space. It's more so less crazy instrumentation and more so just warm sounds. And we're sitting in that sound for quite some time. So you can kind of sit back and really just enjoy where you're sitting in the song. From a vocal point of view, a lyrics point of view, very simple. I loved how we contrasted from the simple, direct lines, spoken very clearly, and then we had that robotic, almost angelic kind of voice, just kind of that rises in between each line. From the get-go, you can just fall into it, enjoy the sounds as they hit you, and just enjoy Europe Endless. Oh, this is so retro, man. I love it. There's those synths.
The young man stepped into the hall of mirrors, where he discovered a reflection of himself. Even the greatest stars discover themselves in the looking glass.
Man, it's cool how the sounds are just going from one ear to the left.
Discover themselves in the looking glass.
Very 3D sounding instrumentation here on this one. Like you can hear the constant in the right, and then the heavier, more clearer synth on the left here.
He fell in love with the image of himself, and suddenly the picture was distorted. Even the greatest stars dislike themselves in the looking glass.
I like how the two synths really like contrast from each other, and you can really just hear they're both distinct in sound and have different weights. Much clearer on the left, a lot more kind of muddier on the right. Much more kind of sinister on the left, much more darker sound on the right here.
Even the greatest stars live their lives in the looking glass.
Much more sinister, a little bit more darker, a bit more introspective. I felt like the synth work was a little bit more sinister, a little bit more darker, as I mentioned throughout the song. Even the chorus that went back to it was very kind of bleak, but also a little bit, you could look at it a couple of ways. It's also suggesting that we're all the same, showing that we can all have the same insecurities. Sometimes we can separate ourselves with celebrities and they feel like more than people, and we just feel like regular people when they're just kind of like superiors. But in terms of some of this lyricism, is just suggesting that even the greatest stars still look in the mirror and can feel those insecurities that we feel, and that we're all just the same, really. We're all human. So I thought that was what the song may have been intending to talk about. I think the synths tried to attach a noise to that feeling of insecurity that we can feel. at times.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Man, this sounds like some early synth work. Like, I wonder how revolutionary this kind of music is at the time. You know, because they're very retro synth sounds. You can hear them. You know, like it feels very just like classic, man.
We are standing here, exposing ourselves. We are showroom dummies.
Quite theatric, this kind of singing performance here so far. I like that beat, the looping. The synth is sitting within the space and the beat really nicely. You can hear that changing kind of frequency and pitch on it. You can hear.
Showroom dummies. We are showroom dummies.
Okay, getting a little bit more life into it. Bit off key. I like how the two synths really just bounce off each other really nicely. Complement each other so nicely. Oh, we're getting a little bit of action here. I think this song's had a lot more kind of action to it, a little bit more kind of variability. There's been the same loops, don't get me wrong, but they've really kind of played on these sounds, added a nice array of different kind of ad-libs, fills, like even this one here. Man, Showroom Dummies was awesome in the way that it introduced a lot more kind of just almost like ad-libs. It felt a lot more alive than the other two tracks. The other two tracks still great in their own way, but this one felt less loopy and a little bit more kind of like ad-libs and just variation and an array of sounds coming in and out. Almost like every kind of minute we'd find a new array of sounds that would come over that staple beat that we heard from the start. Really liked it. I liked the vocal performance as well. It was catchy, that we are showroom dummies. It was cool. And the still delivery was there. It was nice. Yeah, synth heads, eat your heart out, man. This must have been unreal when this came out. Late 70s, I do wonder where the synthesizer was at in history. How retro is that sound?
Trans-Europa Express.
Oh.
Trans-Europa Express.
Bit Castlevania in that delivery there. Bit vampire-like. This is a bit like the Gasoline beat by The Weeknd. Go back and listen to that beat. This kind of sounds very much like Gasoline. It's got that kind of toughness to it that you can't help but fall into the kind of like beat. I love that kind of vibe. I like how this synth is very much, it's almost like shooting. It's got that real punchiness like a laser. It's really giving me like Sesame Street, like, you know, that Count Count Dracula guy that counts the numbers. I'm imagining like him, he's just kind of done his segment on Sesame Street, and now he's just chilling. He's playing his Synths, he's cruising. He's just like, clocked off for the day on Sesame Street, and he's just having a jam on the keys. Trans-Europa Express. Trans-Europa Express. I like that. Here we go. Okay. Double timing. Yeah, I like it. And it sounds like that other beat, like you can hear it kind of just really wavy, man. It's really subtle, like changes in sound. It sounds the same, but they're not. The very, very subtle shifts in instrumentation on these loops. What we're getting on this album is very much, let's chuck you in a sound for upwards of 6 minutes and just let you kind of hear a bunch of different trippy effects that we put on some loops. Felt really confident in its delivery. I like it. As soon as the beat came in, it's just kind of hard not to kind of just feel it. This music is not going to be for everyone. I understand that. It's quite it can be repetitive to some. I understand that. But if you look behind some of the layers, you do feel, not only is it an amazing trip back in time to just some beautiful sounding synthesizers, but you're also kind of getting a lot of different instrumentation. It's just very subtle. The loops are there, but on top of those loops, you'll hear varying sounds come in and out, but the loops themselves will actually change very subtly, even if it's just a little bit of a pitch shift on the beat. This one's like really like rising. Oh no, we got metal on metal. Oh no, I got metal on metal. Oh, real industrial sounding, you're getting the tools, the cogs kind of shifting through the machine. I like the placement. I've got to just tell you how good the placement of the tracks is to really create the atmosphere. It's metal on metal. It's just metal on metal. And we're just going to transition into this next one. Oh. Oh, that double kick.
Trans-Europa Express.
Oh,
Trans-Europa Express.
Man, this makes me just want to jump on a train and go across Europe. What's that? Trans-Europa Express, man.
Trans-Europa Express.
That looks like I'm playing it.
Europa Express.
Yeah, just lovely warm synth sounds. I'm a sucker for synths, so when I hear this stuff, it's really cool. And not often do I get to hear some of this old vintage stuff. It's really insightful, really just retro sounds, classic sounds, really. It's cool. I always find it really interesting how artists and bands utilize the space in a headphone mix. Where are you going to hear these sounds? Where, they have a mix and they go, well, where do I want them to hear these sounds? Is it more effective to just move from the left to the right, or are we going to have designated sounds to the left, designated to the right? I always find that element really interesting, and can really make a huge difference in a lot of headphone mixes, a lot of sounds. Simple one there, very driven by that main loop there. Very serene, very nice. Man, Trans-Europe Express by Kraftwerk was a fantastic jump back into history and just a appreciation of just pure synth magic. You could hear so much beautiful sounds on that project. It really did feel like one cohesive sound. The whole project feels like a journey rather than a song to song to song. I think you get a little bit more when you kind of dive into the whole project and just allow you. It's almost like you're jumping on the Trans-Europe Express. It feels like I was on a train and we were seeing different scenery as we went through the different songs, which was cool. And I like looking at that album like that. It felt like I was just chugging along. The Synths were the champions of that album. I imagine, based on this sound, that the Synths are the champions of this band. Now, over the last couple of years, we've seen a huge resurgence in these synth sounds, these 80s sounds. I know this one was from the 70s, but we're getting a lot more kind of synth use in a lot of pop music, a lot of kind of R&B at times as well. So it's always really important to go back to the roots and enjoy and appreciate and understand how impactful and important synthesizers have been to the music world and just art in general. A fantastic instrument that will continue to stand the test of time, but an awesome dive into a really synth heavy piece of work by Kraftwerk. That was Trans-Europe Express. Let me know what you guys think of that album. If that was your first time checking it out, what do you think? I definitely recommend giving it a go in your own time and space. The loops can be a bit much for some people that aren't used to some of those synthesizer sounds, but it's just a fantastic history lesson. If this is your first time checking out the channel and you had a bit of fun, feel free to hit the subscribe button, join the community. We listen to a wide range of music on the channel: hip hop, hard rock, just straight synthesizers, pop music, alternative, folky sounds, a little bit of everything. So hopefully you can find something on the channel that you love, or fingers crossed you can find an album for the first time. That's always something that excites me, is when people are able to find new music, which is what I'm trying to do on this channel as well myself. My name is Caveman Jack. Take care, guys, and I will see y'all in the next video. Cheers.